Hey guys, Dr. Kyle Loveless here. I thanks so much for watching today. Today I'm going to talk about ADD, ADHD, and we're going to spend some time really diving into that. First of all, I just want to thank you for your time today. I know how valuable your time is. Obviously, mine is actually very valuable as well. And the more people that get to see this video, the more valuable this video is going to be, and the more well spent this time's going to be. And so first thing I want to do is just congratulate you on taking the time to watch this, because it's going to take some time, and I'm going to spend time really teaching you what health is. My goal here today, and really any video I shoot, is to boldly step out and get back to the definition of a doctor. The definition of a doctor is actually to be a teacher. It's not to be a pill prescriber. It's not to be someone that just diagnoses you. It's someone that teaches you about what true health actually is. How does your body work, gives you a roadmap, and then directs you in the right direction so you can be your own doctor. The truth is about health is that your body always heals from the inside out. It doesn't heal from the inside in, which is super awesome for you, because guess what? That means you can be your own doctor. You heal you. I was talking to a patient earlier today, and one of the biggest things that's helped me in practice over the years is to realize that I can't heal anybody, that you heal yourself from the power that God put inside you from the very day you were born, the very day you were conceived, when two egg and the sperm came together, create a life force, and then you, from that day forward, had the ability to operate, function, and heal. So it's you, right? So I want to start out with that. So good job getting on this and starting to learn about your health. And then on top of that, share this with other people. They need to hear this information. Let's dive into it. ADD, ADHD, I'm not going to differentiate between the two. Truth of the matter is they're two different symptoms of the same underlying cause. And so I'm going to focus on the cause today, if that's okay with you. Now, the one thing I want to start out with is talking about the history, real quick, of ADD, ADHD, and also, talking about that history, but I want to be really clear. I'm not here to tell you you did something wrong. I'm not here to tell you, what you decide to do for you or your child in the past that was the wrong decision. Really just inform you so that you can make the right decision for you and your family moving forward. If you're someone that, maybe your child is on Adderall or maybe an ADHD medication, maybe you are yourself. First thing I want to do is just congratulate you, commemorate you, and help and say this, that at least you're trying to do something about it, right? At least you're making the right steps in the right direction, seeking help instead of just saying, oh well, right? You're doing something about it, and any loving parent wants their child to have the best in this world. And when your child's not focusing, when they're having trouble in school, maybe they're really hard to just not control, but to work with because they're all over the place. Maybe you're worried about their safety. Huge. It's so huge that you're stepping out and making a difference. And if you're watching this video, then you're looking for more natural things to do. So I want to give that to you today. So first thing, I just want to say great job so far. The next step is going to have to be something more natural on the long timeline. If your kids are taking, or you're taking any kind of Adderalls or amphetamine medications, you know that they're hard on your body. You know that they don't have good side effects. I've had thousands of patients coming in over the years with kids or themselves on Adderall or Ritalin or any of these medications, and no one truly is like, I want to be on this. They just don't know what else to do. So first, good job. Second, let's start to shift the thinking 15, 20 degrees today. You don't have to change everything, but let's just shift your thinking 15, 20 degrees. If we can do that, it'll put you on a whole new trajectory towards better health. And the good news is that's better health for your kids, your family, everyone around you. That's a part of your life. And 10, 15, 20 years from now, your kids are going to look back on this day when you made the shift, and they're going to thank you for it. So I know it's not going to be easy, but I want to encourage you in that area. Let's dive into this. Okay, cool. ADHD, top 5 tips, must know tips without medications. So let's look at the first step here. Number 1 is going to be EFAs, essential fatty acids. Let me spend some time talking about fat right now. We went through behavioral issues. We started to see skyrocketing of all these health diseases, including heart disease, cancer, diabetes. All these can be caused or led, or part of the cause of them is not having good fats in your body and having bad fats instead. So then they took things like saturated fat, like coconut oils. They took, what used to be real meat, They took that out of our diet and they said, that stuff's going to cause a heart attack. That's going to kill you. And we all took that out of our diet. I remember growing up, hey, leave a comment if you remember growing up with the healthy choices in your cabinet with these chocolate covered bars full of sugar, but they had no fat, right? And we thought that was healthy for us. And that's what we were doing because that's what we wanted to do to be healthy. Now we realize that didn't help. Do we have less heart disease? We have more heart disease. If saturated fat's so bad, that low fat craze would have wiped heart disease out. If saturated fat was so bad, that low fat craze, right? Taking all those fats out, we would be happier, we'd be better in shape, we'd be or less weight. All of these things would have happened, but they didn't. The exact opposite happened. So fat is good for you. One thing I can promise you, and this is a fact, that for your physiology to work, you have to have fat in your body. One of the fats that you actually need is saturated fat. A woman's breast milk is about 80 to 90% saturated fat. It's essential for our life. So I'm going to get that one off the table and tell you that fat is essential for your overall health, okay? You can't burn fat without eating fat. Every hormone in your body is created with fat. Every cell in your body is surrounded by a lipid bilayer, which is a fat layer. Cholesterol and fat make your cells. If your cholesterol levels get too low, your cells will start to leak. If you have bad ratios of fats, too much omega-6s and not enough omega-3s, right? A 20-to-1 ratio is where the most Americans are at right now. You're going to have inflamed cells where stuff might get in, but chemicals aren't getting out. It's not getting rid of the trash. And what happens is we build all kinds of disease, specifically one is cancer. If you don't have, if you're at the other end, you can have other ratios that can make your cells leaky. So what I'm point of matter is fat is essential, okay? And there are essential fatty acids, meaning things we have to eat in order for our body to get them so we can produce the hormones that we need. So you see, guys, this isn't just an ADD, ADHD thing, although essential fatty acids have been proven to be a part of it. So that's the first step, understanding fat's good for you. Second step in understanding essential fatty acids is to know that there are fats that we want to stay away from, okay? And I'm going to talk about those real quickly. Things like hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils, okay? Those are things that are going to inflame the body. Canola oil, vegetable oil, safflower oils, pretty much all the oils they took off the market, like coconut oil, and then put on vegetable oils, all the ones they brought onto the market back in the low fat craze, those are the ones we want to stay away from, okay? Cottonseed oil is a big one as well. And how do you tell if these oils are in your foods? Well, you got to read the ingredients most of the time. Most of the time in your boxed foods, in the, I don't know why I keep doing this, it's just a habit, I guess, but in your boxed foods, in your vegetable, or your salad dressing is usually vegetable oil or safflower oil, which is super inflammatory to the body. Here's how it affects someone with ADD, or how could it lead to ADD, ADHD. Now, there's two different types of fats. We've all heard of trans fats, right? I don't know, I keep doing this. We have trans fats, right? So a trans fat, I'm going to give you a quick chemistry lesson here. Maybe I'll shift this that away, and let me grab a marker here to give you this quick chemistry lesson. Let me just look at my video to make sure. Yeah, you can see that. Okay, cool. So I'm going to give you a quick chemistry lesson on fat, organic chemistry lesson. Okay, you have trans fats, which is this top one. You have an electron here, an electron there. Trans fat, the reason they're so bad for our bodies is because they're almost impossible for our body to break down. And the reason is, you know, you have this electron here, which is producing all kinds of energy field, and this is producing an energy field. Well, in this state right here, those are stable because there's no energy pushing against it to make it want to break apart. Okay, this will make sense here in a second. This is what they call a cis fat, or what we typically find in most of our natural fats, like coconut oils or like meats and things like that, good healthy meats. They have an energy field around them and they're pushing against each other constantly. All it takes is just a little bit of heat, breaks up that cis fat, and now we can break it down. You get heat into here, you can push as much as you want, it's going to hold itself together. And so ultimately what happens is this is the stuff that's going to break down in your system, but unfortunately it also makes it to where you aren't creating the proper cell walls, you're not creating the hormones that you need to be healthy. In return, you're also inflaming the brain. And that's a big part with ADD and ADHD, lots of inflammation throughout the body. So no, trans fats are something we want to stay away from, but they're not just labeled trans fat. Something that's going to turn to a trans fat within the body is something like vegetable oil. When they pull the oil out of the plant, it has a very low heat capacity, a very low light capacity, and it becomes oxidated when they pull that out. It actually will become rancid. What they do is they put a deodorizer in there so you don't smell it, but ultimately it's a rancid oil. It creates a trans fat within the system, super hard for your body to break down. That's how that works. Something like margarine is really a man-made trans fat, and it's very stable. If you put, and I've seen this experiments where they have butter and they have trans fat on a plate, they put that by an ant bed. Obviously the ants go to the butter and they don't touch the trans fat because it's plastic. And so we're talking about heart disease, things like that, but it will drive the neurology crazy, and you're gonna go and have focus problems, anxiety problems, depression problems, ADD, ADHD, all these things can stem from just eating bad fats. So we want to take those bad fats out of our diet. Some other examples of fats you want to stay away from are grass-fed beef or grass-fed animals. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. Grain-fed animals that are many times pumped full of hormones, which can mess up our neurology, and antibiotics, which can also affect our immune system and our neurology over time. So very important to know that there are bad fats, but there are really good ones out there too, and I want to talk about those now. So these good, healthy fats are going to be things like coconut oil, okay? You want to be non-refined, right? The more natural, the better. And hey, coconut oil just got some bad rap again. You know, the AMA, or no, I'm sorry, the AMA, the American Heart Association, the AHA, the American Heart Association came out and said it's bad for us. It's not though. And I believe their study, most of pretty much anything the American Heart Association said, stay away from it. I mean, they told us not to eat cholesterol, now we can. Take the yolk out of your eggs, now you don't have to. They have no clue what they're talking about. Everything they do is backed by pharmaceutical jargon to make them money. And you look at Cheerios, you just all this junk in Cheerios causes heart disease, but the AHA symbols on it. Stay away from the American Heart Association. The next one though is going to be the most recent one that came out, where Harvard did a thing and said it's bad for you, but go to find out that's backed by a canola oil company. So you got to be realistic, and also know that no matter what the studies truly say, it also becomes more logical to know that saturated fat, the reason they said it's bad is because of the saturated fats within it. Saturated fat is actually really good for us. And my best way to prove that point is that breast milk is one of the most amazing things on the planet to grow a healthy child, and it's a good percentage of that is made with saturated fat. We need it, okay? So saturated fat isn't necessarily bad. Coconut oil, medium chain triglycerides, that's MCT oil, that's something within coconut oil. You can get it can get extracted, and it's by itself amazing for brain function in kids with ADD and ADHD. You'll find me saying kids a lot. Let me just make sure this video is on here. Cool. You'll find me saying kids a lot, but adults as well. So SCT oil, which is short chain triglycerides. The Happy Healthy guys, if you're out there, and you can find them online, but they sell this stuff. It's called short chain triglycerides. Super easy for your body to digest, and also really good for brain function. Fish oil, okay, and you want to really get a clean form of fish oil. If you're going to eat fish, you need it to be wild caught fish, because otherwise, if they feed it at the farm, they're feeding them grains. They're not getting the omega-3s that you're trying to get from those fish. Fish get omega-3s from eating sea life that is rich in omega-3s. Flaxseed oil, chia seeds, olive oil, hemp seeds, avocados, grass-fed organic butter is amazing for you. It has CLAs, conjugated linoleic acid. That's a tongue twister for you. But hey, that's huge for kids with, or for people with ADD and ADHD, because it helps brain function. It's amazing for your functioning of your brain. It's also a big one if you're in the exercise world. Then you know that CLAs are part of many weight loss supplements, because it helps increase your metabolism. Grass-fed organic butter, grass-fed organic meats, free-range organic eggs, those are amazing for you. Keep the yolk in your eggs. There's actually enzymes within the yolk that you need to digest the white. And so if you're just eating the white, you're actually not digesting it properly. And they've actually shown that over time, if you eat too much of just the white, you can actually get deficiencies in certain B vitamins. So, and not only that, the richness of the egg is within that yolk. The nutrients, the minerals, the cholesterol that we actually need to produce hormones is within that yolk. So eat your yolks, guys. It's a good stuff, okay? So that's your EFA. So number one, get more essential fatty acids into your diet or your child's diet. find ways to get these things in there. Go organic, go close to home with your foods, but that's the first step. And take out the bad fats that are going to inflame your body. That one step, if you just did number 1 on this top 5 nutritional shifts, you will see a difference. One thing I want to say, when we're looking for results, right? I call them results like this because we want a quick fix, right? You take an Adderall or a Ritalin or anything like that, and it's immediate, and you notice the difference. Changing your diet takes time. You've taken years, maybe if you've been on this stuff for a while, where your body's gotten used to those medications, but you're also used to junk food. So you start putting good, healthy foods into your body, you might start detoxing. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to take some time. So in our philosophy in this clinic, one big thing we stand by is healing takes time. You can't fix something overnight. So if you start making these changes and within a week, you're like, I don't know if I see the change, give it another week, give it another week. I can promise you this is just ultimately how our physiology works. We need this stuff whether you have a symptom or not. So over time, you'll start to see the change in that. One thing you can do if you really want to get specific on this is get an essential fatty acids test. It's a test you can send in, super inexpensive, and it'll tell you what your ratios are of fatty acids. We want about a 4-to-1 ratio, 4-to-1, 3-to-1 ratio of omega-6s to omega-3s. Okay, so you actually want more omega-6s. Good example is a grain-fed piece of meat is going to be like a 20-to-1 ratio. So it's super inflammatory. Potato chips, 20-to-1 ratio. All right, so I'm going to move on here for time. Next on the top 5 nutritional shifts is going to be sugar and grains. So sugar and grains, we want to remove or reduce, pretty much get those things out of the diet. If you're someone that's dealing with focus issues like ADD or ADHD and super hyperactivity, you got to get sugar out. And even grains, because grains in our world today turn to sugar within your body as soon as they get in there. So really, it's just like eating sugar, super inflammatory for our bodies. Plus, you might have heard of this, but a company called Monsanto created something called Roundup, and they created these genetically modified foods. Grains are one of the main genetically modified foods that have Roundup within it. So glyphosate, which is what Roundup is, and there was just a huge a lawsuit against Monsanto. It was like $289 million that one guy won because it caused non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, that they knew that glyphosate and Roundup would cause non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in their studies, and those studies finally got pulled out in this court case. So the one main cause of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is actually glyphosates. Well, most of our grains in this country right now that you're going to eat are going to be packed with those things. Not only messing up neurology in your body, but super toxic to your health, kills your immune system because it's one of the world's strongest antibiotics. Okay, take a breather here. Hey, I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope I'm not talking too fast and good. You can always rewind back to look at it. But I share this stuff with people. They need to hear it. And some people realize sugar's bad for them, but when you get the details, when you start to line it up with something like ADD, and it might mean if you could take sugar out and grains out, so instead of eating bread, you ate something else and take that out of your diet, that means your child or you don't have to take an amphetamine, something that's very similar to cocaine. That's big. That's huge. You don't have to be addicted to a drug. We don't want our kids at this age being addicted. I get that you want to help them. The best way we can help them is think about the future for them, and not only that, thinking about the future is as the parent, as the adult, being brave, having the courage to do that, because it's not going to be easy to deal with your kid in that timeline while it's starting to change, but well worth it in the long run. So sugar and grains, you want to remove those, and we're just going to go through a list. Pasta, rice, bread, cereals, pizza, French fries. Those things inflame the body, put the body into this constant stress response, which your child or you are already in. If you're dealing with something like ADD or ADHD, it literally fires the autoimmune response in this the sympathetic nervous system. So pasta, rice, breads, cereals, pizza, French fries. Got to get those out. French fries are also going to be where you're going to see most of your unhealthy oils. Kids that before they even have teeth, parents are feeding them things like French fries and these unhealthy oils. Guys, the body can't work with this stuff. You got to get it. And that's just what's crazy, how incredible our bodies are, that they can handle it, much less we survive through it. But that's just survival. You want your kids to thrive, and you want to thrive. So let's get this stuff out of our diets. Next up is chemicals. within our food, like food dyes, preservatives, etc., but also chemicals outside of our foods, like cleaning products that we have in our house. Go as natural as possible with all those things. The stuff you put on your body, all those. Food dyes is what I want to start with. These have been linked directly, red 40, yellow 90, I don't know, all the yellow 5, red 5, I don't know all the numbers. But you can look on the back of your food, you're going to see all the food dyes, and they will drive your kid crazy. One of the worst foods on the planet for someone that is already knows they're dealing with a hyperactivity disorder or a attention deficit disorder, one of the worst things on the planet for them is food dyes, but the worst food is going to be something like Skittles or something like Fruity Pebbles or Fruit Loops. I mean, these foods that are super colorful, tons of sugar in them, plus grains, and then other chemicals like preservatives. I mean, that's a concoction of just, I mean, you get it. So chemicals, food dyes, preservatives. Here's my favorite saying for this stuff. If you can't read it, don't eat it. So read the ingredients. You have to become an expert at reading ingredients, guys. You really do, especially if you're the parent of a child who's dealing with ADD, ADHD. Make today the day where you draw the line and you say, I'm going to step past this line. I'm not going back into the old ways of eating. I don't care how hard it is, how difficult it is for my child. We're going to make this change. So if you can't read it, don't eat it. That's what you can look at when you're looking for. I want to make this stuff simple. I got really intensive, really in depth on the essential fatty acids because these are a big changer. But super simple. If you can't read it, don't eat it. Start reading the ingredients. Number 4, some supplements. These are supplements. Now, I want to pre-frame talking about supplements because there's a lot of supplements out there. There's a lot of synthetic vitamins out there, which aren't the same. You see, when you see bread that's fortified with vitamins, it's because they broke and refined that grain down so much, there's no nutrients left. In order to keep it from really just being completely harmful for us, they add these nutrients in. So you see fortified vitamin E or fortified vitamin B or whatever. And we think that's a healthy thing, but your body's not digesting those. It's just synthetic. It doesn't understand. It actually makes more work on your body to digest them. So synthetic vitamins don't work either. So pre-framing supplements is I want to let you guys know that I'm not telling you to go get these supplements for your child right now. What I'm going to recommend is find the right provider, find the right person. And I'm not, just so you know, guys, if you want to really help your child with ADD, ADHD, you're going to have to shift out of the medical model. It is. I mean, the medical model is, and this is nothing against a medical doctor, it's the model. It's not the model. The medical model is literally based on outside in. If you have a symptom, we have a pill for that. That's it. If something doesn't seem to be working right, we can cut it out. That's it. They aren't taught nutrition. They aren't taught lifestyle change. They aren't taught wellness. They're not taught those things. They use the term wellness within hospitals, but it's not real wellness. So you got to understand that you got to pull yourself out of, let's call it the sick care system, where she's covering up symptoms, into a true healthcare system. And that's a start. It's remember, 15, 20 degree shift, but you got to start shifting that direction if you want to be able to get you or your kids off of medications the long run. So supplements, find yourself a good natural healthcare provider. You got chiropractors, you got naturopaths, nutritionists, good nutritionists, not someone that gives you the food pyramid, but good nutritionists out there, a lot of great stuff. Functional medicine doctors, they can all help you with this stuff. And so talk to them before you start taking supplements because some of them can be harmful. But the first one, which I'm going to throw out there, anybody I feel like you can take right now. Now, if you have a super clean diet, you want to get your fatty acid test before you start taking essential fatty acids because you might already be okay with them. But if you don't, if your kid is just like eating an average American diet, get them on some good healthy fish oils. A great brand name that we use is going to be our Standard Process. But at the store, you can get stuff like Nordic Naturals. Nordic Naturals is they have a kids version that has like orange or lemon flavor, and get your kids taking that stuff 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams a day easily for your child that's doing that has ADD or ADHD or even just focus issues. Helps with a lot of other health issues as well. So fish oil is a big one. Get them on some flaxseed oil. Start making them things with chia seeds. Google chia seed pudding, and they'll teach you some natural ways to make good healthy desserts out of chia seeds, which are packed full of omega-3s and healthy fats. So there's a lot of good ways to get fatty acids. Hemp seeds are really good. Hemp oil is really good as well. And then you also have the concept of CBD oil, which is ultimately it's a cannabinoid that helps stimulate your cannabinoid system within the body. Not going to spend a lot of time on that today, but do know that we've seen tremendous results with patients taking CBD oil that are dealing with ADD, ADHD in their focus. And then what it does is it ultimately helps balance. It's called an adaptogen. It helps balance your nervous system, your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, I'm getting kind of intense here. Imagine up here you're stressed out of your mind in your fight or flight mode, and your parasympathetics, which helps you relax, digest food, and sleep, are way down here. Taking something like CBD oil is an adaptogen. What that means is it helps your body adapt. It helps bring you back to what's called homeostasis, which is adaptation, which is balance within the body. Now, to always be right here isn't realistic, but we should be in this mode, right? We should be going back and forth throughout our day and doing those things. So CBD oil can be incredible, right? So EFA is essential fatty acid. Magnesium, it's also something you can probably anyone can really take, and here's the reason why. Is really if you have too much of it, you're going to get diarrhea. So there's one supplement out there you can get from the store called Magnesium Calm. Very inexpensive, and it works. It's a powdered supplement. You put it into, now I know there's a million different, there's a lot of different types of magnesium. Go with the one called Magnesium Calm. It tastes good. Kids can eat it, can drink it or whatever. Help you sleep at night, but it really can calm them throughout the day. So Magnesium Calm is a great one. B6, again, I'm not a huge fan of just starting to take some supplements. Most B vitamins in the supplement form are going to be synthetic, just because it's so hard to get a lot of them. So we're going to find foods rich in B6. So Google foods that are rich in B6 and implement those into your child or your diet. And then zinc. Foods that are rich in zinc as well is something you want to look into, but then also maybe a light supplement of zinc, and you might see that shift for your child or for you. So vitamin D3 is the final one that I'm going to recommend if you're in that mode. With vitamin D3, key thing here is it needs to be real, it needs to be from a whole food source, and it needs to have something like K2 and some magnesium in there to help your body absorb it and for it to activate properly. Okay, the best way to get vitamin D3 is the most natural way, which is get out in the sun. Get your kids out in the sun. Don't put all this sunscreen on them all the time. Let them absorb some vitamin D3. If you pump sunscreen on them right before they even get out there, they never get to absorb it. It blocks it. And vitamin D3 is essential for the immune system, so many other health benefits of it. So supplements, those are some simple ones that you can start to implement. Again, find yourself a provider or someone that's going to really walk you through these steps and see if that's exactly what your child needs. But these are some good starts when you're thinking about what to take. Number 5, remove this stuff. Remove juices, apple juice, grape juice, all these juices out there that seem like they're going to be lemonades, seem like they're going to be healthy because they say juice from a fruit. Problem is, within 24 to 48, even 72 hours, that stuff, the enzymes, the nutrients, the minerals, all the good stuff within that fruit juice, like if you went and juiced it immediately and drank it, after about 72 hours, it's gone. It's really reduced down. It starts to become more oxidized more than anything. Most of the juices you're going to be drinking are going to be highly preserved or concentrated or stuff like that. It's a bunch of sugar is what it really is. I mean, you're looking at more sugar in a fruit juice than you're going to see in a Pepsi. It's a lot of sugar, and so we're trying to stay away from that. So removing juice, and for sure take these Coca-Colas, the Diet Cokes, the sodas out of your child's diet. And while we're talking about this, I'm going to talk about synthetic sweeteners real fast. I should have talked about this in the chemical mode, but I don't want to miss it. Synthetic sweeteners, aspartame, sucralose. So when I say don't eat sugar, many times people will shift into low sugar or no sugar foods, but the problem is most no sugar foods, when you flip them over, it's going to have aspartame or sucralose in there. And aspartame or sucralose are neurotoxic, which means it's going to cause more problems with someone with ADD and ADHD. So you want to stay away from aspartame and sucralose. Look at chewing gum. If you're someone that's hyperactive or issues with focus, you're probably anxious all the time, and so you're probably someone that chews a lot of gum. Read the back of your chewing gum. It typically has aspartame in there, and especially anything that says sugarless or sugar-free, it's probably going to have aspartame. There's gums out there that have things like xylitol that can be more natural sweeteners that aren't going to cause the neurological effect. This is a great testimony by a patient one time that came in, a young girl, and she was on some medications, had severe migraine headaches, and she came in, she was chewing gum, talking, migraines, tell me all about it, and like daily having these migraines. And so I just thought to myself for a second, I said, how often do you chew gum? And she's like, oh, I don't stop. It's constant. So the gum she's chewing has aspartame in it. We took that out. She quit chewing gum. Within the week, she almost completely got rid of her migraines. Huge. Huge, huge, huge. So again, juice, take the sodas out. We don't need this stuff. If you just like, honestly, like this is a mode of making change. Shift this stuff out. But if your kids are like so addicted and it's such a headache to try to get them not to, I almost don't even want to go there because I just want to make us make this shift. But do something like a Zevia, Zevia. It's a more natural soda. You can do stuff like soda water, LaCroix, things like that that are going to be soda water, not pumped full of chemicals and not pumped full of sugar. So you can still get that carbonation in there and do that. You can do kombucha, which is really good for their digestive system, which reminds me, I probably should have added something like a probiotic in the supplements because most kids with behavioral issues have gut issues as well. So probiotic can be very, very good. But kombucha is a great drink that helps replenish probiotics and has carbonation, but in like a soda effect. And then finally, drink more water. I know, hey guys, you probably hear the trash truck outside making noise, but drink more water. That's it. Clean, healthy water. Find one without fluoride. Find one that gets rid of the chlorine and all the other chemicals in there. I'll give a quick shout out to a great company that we use. It's called Innate, I-N-N-A-T-E, water, and it's actually a company that sells water filters. So it's Innate Water. It's a great company. I highly recommend doing that. Not only with your drinking water, but they also have shower filters as well. And it gets rid of the fluoride within your water and chlorine and all the other stuff. So that's it. That's the top 5 nutritional shifts. Today, what I want you to do is pick the one, maybe even just pick them all. Yeah, I want you guys to change this so bad it will transform you and your child's life. The hardest thing in my experience in the last 10 years in being a doctor is the hardest thing is getting patients to just make the shift. It's a habit change, and habits are so hard to change, especially when you're trying to change them for somebody else like your kids. But all I can say is the only way it's going to change is if we start making the change. Make a line, draw a line in the sand today, step over that line. If you mess up, who cares? Just keep going with it, and you can do that. I want to give you guys one last bonus on ADD ADHD that I personally, through practice, have found has been incredible. My professional training as a wellness doctor is in chiropractic. And as a chiropractor, there's a lot of misconceptions with chiropractic. Many times, people think it's for back pain and neck pain, which we do an amazing job with. But what people don't realize is that we work with the spine, which encompasses your nervous system, and your nervous system controls your body. We talk about ADD and ADHD being a neurological issue. Well, if we can remove the interference to your nervous system by moving the spine. One thing I didn't put on there is activity, right? Some of the reasons that people are so hyperactive and can't focus is because they sit in front of a computer or Game Boys or whatever that stuff is all day long, and their spine doesn't move. Well, 90% of the stimulation and nutrition to your brain comes from your spine moving. Some people, we just got to get you moving regularly. And many times because of that sitting, because of that, even the birthing process was traumatic, because of that, it's called areas that get subluxated in the spine, meaning it shifts out of alignment or it just doesn't move in that area, creating a neurological response. So literally a stressed response in the nervous system. What we do in chiropractic is remove that subluxation, not remove, but adjust it by getting the spine moving again, blocking the stress response. We've seen incredible changes with kids with ADD and ADHD. It's my favorite group of people to work with because I know that I'm transforming their lives by helping them get off of that medication, because I've seen people who have been out for a long period of time, and it really has a bad impact. It can cause heart attacks. It can cause all kinds of health issues. They've literally said it's an increase from people on mind-altering medications, especially kids, because they're growing. Mind-altering medications, they do things that they don't even know they're doing, like the homicidal tendencies, suicidal tendencies. All that stuff is all linked back to a lot of these medications, right? Because it's a mind-altering drug. They don't realize what they're doing many times when they're taking these medications. Plus, they don't get enough sleep. It messes up their sleep, messes up their eating because they're not hungry, and all kinds of health issues that come along with it. So I know I can transform lives, and this is how we start within our clinics and most chiropractors are going to start with chiropractic because you got to get the nervous system clear. On top of that, give the body what it needs, remove the nutritional deficiencies or remove the nutritional, let's call it interference, from bad fats, from sugar, from grains, from chemicals, and add the good stuff back in. And that is a recipe for success, not just for ADD and ADHD, but for everything. For everything in your health. You can name a symptom, name a disease. Right now, I call them diseases because ultimately most things we're dealing with right now are lifestyle diseases, which are simply adaptations, physiological adaptations of your body to its environment. But that's another story. But take what I just taught you today and you can help wipe out a good percentage of the health issues you're dealing with as long as you give it time. Time is essential. There's other things you can add. There's other great therapies, everything from acupuncture to massage to yoga to exercises. There's all good stuff out there. Go natural, find the stuff that's going to work for you, and don't give up. Make sure you realize that just because one thing didn't work didn't mean it wasn't the answer. It might just mean it wasn't the whole answer, right? Maybe you found a piece to the puzzle when you started taking bad fats out, or maybe you found a piece to the puzzle when you shifted out of drinking dairy or taking, which I didn't even talk about, all these things that you could do with your kids for ADD and ADHD. Take dairy completely out, take gluten out. All those things are really important too. But maybe you made one shift and you said, okay, I'm going to take the dairy out. And you say, oh, that didn't work. They still have focus problems or ADD or ADHD. Well, cool. That doesn't mean that didn't work. That just means it might not be the whole answer. They might be subluxated in their atlas right here, causing them to be in a constant fight or flight response, and they need to get adjusted. And they need to take out the dairy. But also they need to quit eating French fries and chicken McNuggets every day, right? And then they also need to start eating some vegetables. You see, that dairy part might be a piece, but it wasn't the whole piece. So encouraging you right now by saying you're on the right track just because you're watching this, just because you're making a shift in your thinking. Again, every 15 or 20 degrees of a shift turns out to one day you have a full 180, you're on the right track to your health, and you're transforming your child's life, your family's life, and you now are your own doctor. And then from there, you take the leadership role and you start teaching other people. Make this a health revolution. It only happens and starts with you making that shift, 15, 20 degrees. All right? So I'm going to shut my trap here in a second. I just want to show you how incredible the body is. This will give you some encouragement to know that you don't need medications to heal. Do you think that intricate system right there with the brain sending signals down spinal cord like electricity going out to your organs, and then nutrients and minerals turning into cells, and cells regenerating and dying off and being replaced, and an immune system, cells fighting off disease and fighting off, I mean, this is an incredible system that if we could start to honor the power that made the body and heals the body, then we're going to start to see transformational things in our health. But it starts with a paradigm shift, and that's what I'm hoping more than anything you got from this video today. It was long, it was hopefully not drawn out, but it was long, and hopefully you got a lot from it. So like this, love it, share it. You really can be the change in someone's life. It takes one seed, one thing you say that could shift their thinking, and 10, 15 years from now, enough other seeds hit them, and then they made a big shift, and you changed their life, preventing some of the top things you see today, like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, just lifestyle stuff, like being 67 years old, not in a nursing home, feeling good and loving life. All right, you guys have an awesome day. Hope you got a lot of this. Like it, love it, and share it. We'll talk to you later.